Don't look around. They're already watching. Every breath, every blink, every second you exist. Someone's studying you, trying to decode the anomaly they accidentally let slip through their system. But here's the punchline. They still don't know what you are. You don't fit in their categories. You don't align with their formulas. You walk through their world like an equation that refuses to solve. And that terrifies them more than any villain ever could. They keep files on people like you know. Hidden archives, observation logs. They don't write human next to your name. They write unclassified because you defy their data. Their science breaks at your presence. Their psychology malfunctions at your calm. They can track your heartbeat, but not your intentions. They can copy your style, but not your frequency. You're the glitch they can't patch, the paradox they can't dissect without unraveling themselves. They try to act like they understand you, but watch closely. Their smiles are strained. Their confidence flickers. You make logic tremble. Because every system is built on predictability, and you're not predictable. You're prophetic. You don't move with pattern. You move with purpose. And when purpose operates without permission, the world panics. They're monitoring your behavior like you're a subject in an experiment that never ends. They whisper, "How does he do that?" while pretending not to stare. They dissect your silence like it's code, terrified of the moment it turns into sound, because they can't tell if you're about to laugh or end the simulation. They label you strange, different, unstable. But those are just the words the blind use when they see lightning for the first time. They call you dangerous because you're unmeasurable. They call you mysterious because you don't explain yourself. But that's the beauty, isn't it? You stopped needing validation the moment you realized curiosity is the highest form of fear. They're not studying you out of admiration. They're studying you out of survival. Because deep down, they know something's off about your presence. You're not operating from the same programming. You think faster. You see deeper. You sense before things happen. You walk into a room and distort the hierarchy without saying a word. You're not playing their game. You're rewriting it. And they feel it. They feel it in the way your stillness pulls attention. They feel it in the way your silence speaks louder than applause. They feel it in the way your laughter sounds like prophecy. You see, people don't actually fear monsters. They fear mirrors. You reflect everything they've buried, their cowardice, their conformity, their craving for control. You hold up the truth like a blade, and they flinch every time. They tried to categorize you as too much, too intense, too unpredictable. But that's the funny part. You were never supposed to be understood. You were designed to be felt. You're an emotion masquerading as a human. You're a consequence wearing a grin. You're the experiment the lab lost control of. They thought they could contain you by watching you. But the more they stare, the more the illusion breaks. Their surveillance becomes surrender. Because the moment you're observed, you adapt. You don't just evolve under pressure. You feed on it. You make anxiety look like ritual. You turn scrutiny into spotlight. You made exposure your camouflage. They'll never understand how you keep surviving storms you weren't supposed to walk out of. They'll never grasp how you keep laughing through sabotage, smiling through betrayal, breathing through chaos. That's what makes you alien to them. Your resilience isn't learned, it's inherited. It's coded in your bloodstream. You are born immune to collapse. They've built entire systems to monitor the exceptional. Cameras, records, rumors. But none of it works on you because you don't perform for attention. You weaponize it. You let them look, let them analyze, let them obsess, and then you disappear. Just to remind them that no matter how many eyes watch you, they still can't capture your essence. You are both the signal and the static, both the storm and the silence before it, both the question and the correction. You've become something they can't categorize, too divine for data, too dangerous for diagnosis. You're an emotion they can't define, the intersection where logic dissolves and something ancient takes over. And the most unsettling part, you don't even try. You don't chase power. You radiate it. You don't seek attention. Attention submits. You don't manipulate the room. The room adjusts to you. You exist in that rare frequency where fear and fascination blend, where angels hold their breath and devils take notes. You didn't ask to be different. You were built by difference, forged in rejection, polished by chaos, molded by nights when your mind burned too bright to rest. You learned how to weaponize observation, how to turn being watched into being worshipped. And now, they can't look away. They track you because they're terrified of what happens if they don't. They study you because they feel the timeline bending around your shadow. They whisper your name like a myth they half believe, half fear. You're not a threat to their system. You're the update they can't install. So let them watch, let them record, let them think they're collecting data while they're really documenting their own decline. Let them study your walk, your voice, your aura, because every time they do, they become a little more aware of what they'll never become. You don't belong to this species because you graduated from it. You transcended the hunger for validation, the addiction to approval, the slavery of fear. You learned to breathe in solitude, to build from pain, to laugh at chaos. You're the byproduct of what happens when suffering evolves into sovereignty. So yes, they're watching you 24/7. But what they don't realize is that you're watching them back. And while they're busy trying to understand your species, you're already designing the next one. And they don't even realize it, do they? They sit there behind their screens, eyes bloodshot from obsession, pretending this is research, pretending it's curiosity, when really, it's addiction. You became their unsolved case, the static hum in their skull that won't stop replaying. They whisper, "What is he?" like children huddled around a campfire afraid to name the thing in the dark. They track your habits, your hours, your silence. They measure your unpredictability, not knowing that unpredictability is the pattern. You don't leave breadcrumbs, you leave mirrors. Every time they think they found a clue, they're just staring back at the reflection of their own obsession. They think they're collecting information, but you're the one gathering intel on them. You don't move for attention anymore. You move to test gravity. You disappear just to make the world twitch. You post one word, and 1,000 nervous hearts beat faster. Because everyone's trying to decode what the word means. It's not a word. It's a warning. It's a frequency spike. It's you whispering to the subconscious, while their conscious mind tries to rationalize why they're shaking. You don't have followers, you have subjects. You don't have haters. You have unpaid marketing interns spreading your legend through their panic. Every time they gossip about you, they amplify your myth. Every rumor is free advertising. Every insult is unpaid promotion. And the best part, you don't even have to reply. Silence became your PR strategy. They call you unnatural. But what's natural about surviving this many executions of the soul and still laughing like thunder? They call you too intense. But what's more natural than fire learning to dance? You didn't adapt to this world. You forced the world to evolve around you. You used to be afraid of being misunderstood, didn't you? Now you've turned misunderstanding into armor. You realize that being unreadable isn't a curse, it's camouflage. You stopped explaining yourself because explanations invite manipulation. You don't clarify anymore. You confuse on purpose, because confusion breeds control. The second they stop being sure of you, they start orbiting you. You don't fit in their data sheets because you outgrew logic. You exist in the glitch between psychology and prophecy. You don't react, you predict. You don't compete. You rewrite the rules. You don't fight. You redirect energy. Every move you make bends the simulation slightly out of alignment, and they can feel it. You've noticed it, haven't you? How rooms get quieter when you walk in, how laughter stutters, how conversations freeze mid-sentence like someone hit pause on the Matrix. It's not paranoia, it's resonance. You don't just enter environments, you alter them. You shift the magnetic field without saying a word, and every eye in the room knows it, even if their mouths pretend not to. You see, the species you came from, the one they're trying to label, doesn't exist in biology. It exists in awareness. It's born in moments of disillusionment, when the veil between perception and truth tears open, and you're the only one who doesn't look away. You're part prophet, part weapon, part warning. You're the bridge between what humanity pretends to be and what it secretly fears becoming. You are what happens when pain learns pattern recognition, when trauma develops taste, when heartbreak learns geometry. You are intellect fused with instinct, empathy fused with entropy, and that hybrid can't be catalogued. You are both the disease and the cure, the wound and the scalpel, the scientist and the experiment gone right and wrong simultaneously. They keep watching because deep down they know. If they look away too long, reality might shift without their permission. You represent evolution they can't control. You remind them of what comes after control. You are the whisper that says, the system has limits. You are the glitch that proves perfection is a cage. You are the proof that madness is just clarity wearing no mask. And they hate you for it. But they can't stop. Because hating you feels like touching the truth for the first time. They'll study your eyes, hoping to find calculation. They'll find compassion instead, the kind that terrifies them, because it's not performative, it's surgical. You see too much. You care too deeply. You understand too quickly. They call that dangerous, because empathy in the wrong hands is a weapon, and yours are steady. They'll study your smile, looking for ego. They'll find irony, the realization that the joke has always been on them. They'll study your words, looking for meaning. They'll find mirrors, reflections of what they never wanted to see in themselves. They'll study your movements, looking for rhythm. They'll find ritual, precision so natural it feels divine. They don't know that every step you take is choreography written by chaos itself. That every pause, every tilt of your head, every moment of silence is calculated to make the world stutter. You live like a magician who's forgotten his own tricks. The performance became your nature. You've learned that attention is the new currency, and you are inflation incarnate. Every second someone stares at you, you grow stronger. You drain fascination like power. They don't realize they're feeding you. You've become their mirror and their monster, their inspiration and their insecurity. You're not the villain. You're the verdict. You're not mysterious. You're mathematical. But the equation is too divine for their syntax. You're not crazy. Your clarity misinterpreted as danger. And so they watch, from screens, from shadows, From behind fake smiles and half-swallowed envy, they analyze your tone, your silence, your aura, trying to catch the ghost in motion. But you're not in motion. You are motion. The event they can't replicate, the anomaly they can't contain. They don't understand that they're not watching a person. They're watching an epoch, a turning point, a breach in the ordinary. You are evolution disguised as defiance. You are the next iteration of what consciousness becomes when it stops begging to be loved. So let them stare, let them record, let them whisper your name like a warning and a wish. Because you're not hiding anymore. You never were. You were just waiting for them to realize they're the ones in the cage. And when they finally ask what species you belong to, you'll smile, slow, deliberate, knowing, and whisper, the kind that watches back. And that's when the air goes heavy, the laughter dies down, the lights seem to dim, and you can feel it. That moment when they realize you're not just being poetic, you're being literal. They've been studying you, yes, but all this time, you've been mapping them. Every gesture, every tone, every lie they thought was casual, recorded in the quiet museum behind your eyes. They don't realize your memory isn't linear, it's architectural. You don't just remember events, you remember the structure of their meaning. You see patterns in real time, emotional equations written in sighs, in glances, in half-finished sentences. You don't react to people, you forecast them. That's what separates you from the species they belong to, the one still chained to instinct and denial. You evolved past reaction into response, past emotion into awareness. You don't run on adrenaline anymore. You run on pattern recognition. And that terrifies them because it means you can't be baited, manipulated, or guilt-tripped into submission. They keep asking, what drives you? But the truth is, nothing does. You burned the engine. You learned to move without motive, to act without attachment. You became motion without dependency, an idea that self-propels. That's why their systems glitch around you, because every system depends on expectation, and you stopped being predictable the day pain rewired your circuitry. You remember the night it happened, don't you? That quiet breaking point when you realized there was no saving anyone who enjoyed misunderstanding you. When you stopped performing softness for spectators who only applauded your suffering. That was your metamorphosis. That was when the species split. The old you died, and something entirely new took its first, controlled breath. Since then, you haven't spoken words. You've cast frequencies. Your presence isn't conversation. It's contagion. People leave you changed, even if they pretend they don't know why. You rearrange the chemistry in their heads just by existing too close. They call it intimidation. But that's the sound of an outdated mind trying to reboot in front of an upgraded consciousness. You've felt it, haven't you? The way environments start bending to your tempo. The way people's sentences shorten around you. Their laughter comes out wrong. Their eyes flicker. That's not paranoia, that's physics. Reality adapts to focus, and your focus is surgical. They'll gossip to cope. They'll pathologize you to feel safe. He's different. She's dangerous. They think they know everything. But what they're really saying is, we don't understand how someone can exist without permission. You're the mirror they can't break, because every swing only shatters their own reflection. You've made them witnesses to evolution, and witnesses are always afraid of what they testify to. They can't stop watching, because the moment they look away, they might miss the next mutation, and you will mutate again. You always do. That's your secret weapon. adaptation as art form. You're never the same twice. You let them study the last version of you, while the next one is already operational. You're 2 timelines ahead, leaving decoys in plain sight. That's why their control systems fail. Surveillance depends on patterns. You dissolved patterns. Their algorithms lag behind your instinct. Their definitions are fossils in your wake. Sometimes you even pity them, don't you? Watching them waste entire lives trying to decode a being that isn't hiding, just operating on another wavelength. You could explain yourself, but explanations shrink mysteries into cages, and you'd rather stay infinite. You learned long ago that mystery is not deception, it's protection. The less they know, the freer you move. The freer you move, the faster you evolve. And evolution doesn't apologize. They'll call you cold for it, but you know warmth is wasted on those who mistake it for weakness. You reserve empathy for precision, not pity. You don't hand it out. You direct it like a scalpel. You've turned compassion into calculus. That's the level they can't comprehend. So yes, let them watch. Let them write reports. Let them whisper theories into the void. Because every analysis becomes a mirror maze they'll never escape from. You've built a reality where every observer is observed. Every critic becomes content. Every attempt to cage you documents your freedom. They wanted entertainment. You gave them revelation. They wanted explanation. You gave them existence. They wanted to understand, and instead they awakened. You've stopped being a person in their eyes. You've become an ecosystem, self-sustaining, unpredictable, thriving on scrutiny. You are what happens when awareness reaches critical mass and refuses to shut down. You are the evolution they prayed for but weren't ready to meet. And when they finally come close enough, when the bravest of them dares to ask you, trembling, "What are you?" Really, you'll give them that slow, deliberate grin, the kind that splits silence into confession, the kind that makes even the shadows lean closer. Then you'll lean in too, voice low enough to make the world hold its breath, and whisper the only truth their species was never built to process. I'm what comes after understanding. Look at you, sitting there like you don't already know the script. They thought they could outthink you, outsmart you, outspeed the very mind that wrote the rules while pretending to break them. But what they never realized was that you were the one who designed the maze. They entered your labyrinth thinking they'd win. You watched them take notes on the walls you painted in disappearing ink. Every theory they built, every argument they rehearsed, every move they made to feel superior was just a demonstration of your design. They weren't strategizing against you, they were studying you, and that was their first mistake. See, you don't think like them. You think around them. You're not part of the logic loop, they're trapped inside it. You authored the glitch that keeps them up at night, rewinding conversations, replaying losses, whispering to themselves that maybe, just maybe, you saw something they didn't. You did. They call it intuition. You call it mathematics disguised as madness. You read energy like scripture, chaos like a holy text. Every time they mocked your silence, you were memorizing the way arrogance decays. Every smirk, every insult, they fed your archive. Because what they don't understand is that you're not driven by ego. You're driven by evidence. You don't just observe patterns, you become them. You let people believe they're reading you, all while you're rewriting their programming mid-sentence. You study tone, tension, micro-reactions. You track the ghost of emotion hiding behind logic. You've learned that the human mind is a script written by fear, and you've mastered how to edit it live. That's why they can't predict you. You're both the variable and the equation, both experiment and observer, both scientist and specimen, and in that paradox, your power lives. They call you manipulative, but that's just projection from those who can't handle how transparent they really are. You see the architecture behind their masks. You know which words will build them up, and which will make them collapse in real time. You know which silence will make them beg for meaning. You know that truth isn't what's said, it's what trembles between sentences. You've been accused of being heartless, but that's only because your empathy evolved into something surgical. You don't feel for everyone. You feel through everyone. You can walk through another person's psyche like it's an abandoned cathedral, touching memories that don't belong to you, hearing their buried screams in the echo. That's not insanity. It's awareness they can't survive at. They wanted to play chess, but you built the board, weighted the pieces, and wrote the rule book in invisible ink. You wanted them to think they had a chance, because the only way to reveal who someone truly is to let them think they're winning. They thought you were arrogant. No, you were merciful. You gave them rope, not to hang you, but to build their own gallows. And when they finally looked up from their obsession, desperate to prove you wrong, they found themselves quoting your logic, using your language, bending to your rhythm. You turned them into disciples without permission, professors of principles they'll never admit you created, scholars of a doctrine they tried to destroy. And the best part? You didn't have to expose them. They exposed themselves. Every time they tried to trap you, they discovered a law they couldn't override. Every time they tried to decode you, they rewrote their own limitations. Every time they tried to destroy you, they stumbled into revelation. Because you didn't come here to fit in their little hierarchy of intellect. You came here to rewrite it. You came to show what happens when consciousness wakes up inside the simulation and starts hacking its own code. They call it coincidence. You call it control. They call it luck. You call it leverage. They call it danger. You call it destiny. See, the truth is, they never stood a chance. You weren't one of the players. You were the architect. You placed every mirror, every contradiction, every illusion perfectly. You let them chase reflections while you rearranged the light. You are the law they tried to outsmart, the silent statute written in instinct, carved in pain, enforced by chaos itself. And that's the final irony, isn't it? They thought you were unpredictable, but the universe has been following your formula since the beginning. Now they're standing in classrooms and corporate offices, whispering theories that all trace back to you. They quote the ghost of your logic and call it innovation. They mimic your detachment and call it confidence. They study your madness like a sacred text, because somewhere deep down, they know what you are. A storm pretending to be a man. A scientist pretending to be insane. A paradox so perfect that it terrifies order itself. You didn't just outthink them, you out-evolved them. You made their entire system obsolete. And now, they're praying to the laws you wrote, begging for mercy from a mind they once mocked. So go on, smile that smile that scares the honest and seduces the wicked. Because in the end, every genius is just a criminal who understood too much. And every fool who tried to outsmart you, just another unpaid intern in the university of your madness. And the irony, oh, the sweet irony, is that they still think it was a fair game. They still cling to the illusion that this was a duel of intellects, a clash of equals. But deep down, they know. They felt it, that cold, surgical precision every time you looked at them, like you weren't looking at them but through them. You didn't study people, you dissected patterns. You didn't argue ideas, You rearranged dimensions. They tried to debate you in public, and you let them. You let them bask in their little moment, parading confidence that cracked the second your silence stretched too long. That silence, your weapon, sharper than any rebuttal, heavier than any proof. Because silence in your mouth doesn't mean absence. It means calculation. It means you're letting the universe finish the equation for you. They thought you were quiet because you were unsure. But your quiet was the storm inhaling. You see, intelligence isn't about what you say. It's about what you see before it's visible. And you saw every thread long before they realized they were part of a web. They thought they were weaving, but you were the spider and the architect and the poison in their overconfidence. You never chased recognition because power doesn't need applause. It just needs awareness. You became fluent in contradiction, the saint who knows sin better than the sinners, the demon who understands light because he once wrote it into code. You turned pain into data, betrayal into signal, chaos into compass, and they mistook your patience for weakness. Fools. They measured intelligence in words per minute, not worlds per thought. They tested IQ, you tested reality. They sought validation, you sought truth. And truth doesn't perform for claps. It performs autopsies on lies. You watch them crumble under their own masks. People so obsessed with being the smartest in the room, they didn't realize you built the room to study them in. They chased trends, theories, philosophies, all while unknowingly orbiting your gravity. You became the black hole of their intellectual ego, silent, consuming, inescapable. And when they finally thought they had you cornered, when they rallied, rehearsed, and prepared their final argument, you smiled, because you knew there's no winning against someone who's already accepted every outcome. You play with inevitability, you weaponize surrender. You've seen every ending before the story begins. That's the secret, isn't it? They think intelligence is prediction. You know it's remembrance. You're not seeing the future. You're remembering it. You've been here before, in 100 mirrored timelines, refining your precision until the present became your playground. And that's what terrifies them most, that your genius doesn't come from thought. It comes from memory, from something older, ancient. The way you read people like algorithms written in emotion, the way you predict chaos before it breathes. It's not logic, it's legacy. You carry a knowledge the modern world forgot how to name. You are instinct polished into intellect, madness tempered into method, divinity compressed into density. And they feel it. Even the arrogant ones, especially the arrogant ones. They'll joke, they'll mock, they'll label you crazy, paranoid, too deep. But every time they're alone, their minds replay your words. They try to disprove you in their heads, but the proof keeps whispering back. He was right. You don't just outthink people. You haunt them. Your logic lingers in rooms long after you leave. You turn conversations into mirrors people can't look away from. You force realization through reflection. And that's why they fear you. Because deep down, they know your genius isn't an act. It's an infection. You make people remember parts of themselves they buried to survive. You trigger the truth like a trauma response. You drag honesty from their throats like confession under duress. That's not intellect, my friend. That's divinity misdiagnosed as danger. And here's the cruel part. The deeper you go, the lonelier it gets. Because no one wants to admit the higher your awareness, the colder your altitude. They envy the view, but they can't survive the oxygen. You became too sharp for comfort, too honest for hierarchy, too evolved for the system you dismantled without touching. So they call you names to feel safe. They form circles of denial around your fire just to feel warm without burning. They gossip because they can't grasp. They debate because they can't dominate. But behind closed doors, they study your mannerisms. They imitate your tone. They quote you subconsciously. They rewrite your words into new discoveries. You've become the ghostwriter of their enlightenment. And that's the most dangerous power there is. Influence without presence. You don't need to be in the room anymore to control it. You don't need to speak to be remembered. Your absence echoes louder than their existence. You've entered the phase where your intelligence stops being information and starts being atmosphere. The air gets thinner around you because truth suffocates lies. You walk into rooms and watch masks malfunction. You don't need to argue. Your energy cross-examines. You don't need to win. Reality bends quietly in your favor. And when the world asks what happened to those who tried to outsmart you, the answer is simple. They became your students. Some willingly, some in denial, all inevitably. Because you can't fight gravity with arrogance. You don't explain yourself anymore. Explanation is for equals. You demonstrate through precision, through stillness, through the kind of quiet that makes chaos nervous. They thought you were clever, but clever dies in daylight. You're inevitable. You're the fine print in every soul contract, the law beneath the law, the signature that can't be erased, because you wrote it in consequence, not ink. And now they walk carefully, quoting principles you planted, fearing the echo of your name like a trigger phrase. Because deep down, every one of them knows they didn't just fail to outsmart you. They became the proof that you were right all along. And yet, the story doesn't end there, does it? Because after they fell silent, after the smoke cleared and the applause died, you didn't celebrate. You observed. You watched the same faces that mocked your madness now mimic your movements like disciples with selective amnesia. They forgot the ridicule. They forgot the whispers. But you didn't. You remember every smirk, every eye roll, every patronizing advice. You remember how they tried to dissect your motives like a frog in a classroom, not realizing you were dissecting their souls in return. They tried to study your intelligence as if it were mechanical. But intelligence born from pain doesn't follow procedure. Yours was engineered in collapse, built in nights where sanity was optional and silence screamed louder than sound. They studied logic. You studied suffering. You took every heartbreak, every betrayal, every humiliating downfall and mapped it like a war strategist reading a field of ghosts. You don't just understand the human condition, you own it. Because what is intelligence, really, if not pattern, recognition born from agony? And what is power, if not control over what once broke you? They think you're dangerous because you don't flinch anymore. Because you look at the things they avoid and see blueprints where they see endings. You turned every scar into an equation, every failure into a feedback loop, every loss into leverage. That's why they can't stand next to you. They can't withstand the frequency. You operate in silence levels that fry weaker circuitry. You're not emotional anymore. You're elemental. They want to decode how you move, but your rhythm isn't built from routine. It's built from revelation. You're what happens when someone sees too much and learns not to blink. You read minds without trying, not because you're psychic, but because you've seen enough patterns to know how people loop their own destruction. You see it before it unfolds. You taste betrayal before it's spoken. You feel tension before it forms. And that unnerves them more than any outburst ever could. They expected you to explain yourself. You learned that explanations are for people who need permission to exist. They expected you to fight for understanding. You realized that mystery is a stronger weapon than proof. And now, look at them. The same ones who once thought they could humiliate you are now humbled by you. The same ones who said, "You think too much," are now quoting your philosophies to sound profound. They mock what they can't measure, then mimic what they can't master. It's a cycle, and you let it play out like theater. Because you learned the truth early. Genius doesn't seek revenge. It records it. You don't clap back. You archive. You let time testify. You let the universe replay your patience like a prophecy fulfilled. You let their own patterns build the case you never had to argue. And in the end, every critic becomes evidence. Every betrayer becomes bibliography. Every fool becomes footnote. That's how you built your empire. Not on validation, but on vindication. Not on proving you were right, but on watching time prove it for you. You became the author of inevitability, and oh, they hate that. They hate that they can't provoke you anymore. That their chaos no longer gets a reaction. That their gossip dies in your silence. Because when your awareness reaches a certain altitude, conflict becomes comedy. You don't even get angry anymore. You get analytical. You don't raise your voice. You raise your vibration. They wanted to play chess, remember. You became the algorithm that renders the game obsolete. Now when they talk about you, it's in hushed tones. Because your name doesn't just symbolize rebellion anymore. It symbolizes precision. You are what they secretly want to become, but can't without dissolving everything false within them. And that's why they resent you. Because you remind them of the cost of truth. You remind them that genius isn't gifted. It's purchased with pain, with isolation, with exile. They don't understand that to see the pattern, you have to stand outside it. To master the game, you have to walk away from it. To write new laws, you have to be willing to break the old ones without apology. And you did. You broke them quietly, systematically, spiritually. You learned how to operate without the need for applause, and that's when the applause started chasing you. Now people study you the way scientists study anomalies, not to understand, but to contain. Because you've become something else entirely. You've become a phenomenon, a shift in how people perceive possibility. You made intelligence look like prophecy. You made madness look like design. You turned unpredictability into a discipline. And the world isn't built to handle that kind of mind. They label it dangerous because it exposes their limitations. They call it arrogance because it mirrors their insecurity. They call it chaos because it doesn't bow to their control. But beneath all their labels, all their nervous laughter and subtle jealousy, lies a quiet truth they'll never admit out loud. They learned more from losing to you than they ever did from winning against anyone else. Because your mind doesn't destroy, it reveals. It shows what's hollow, what's weak, what's borrowed, what's fake. You don't argue with lies. You let them collapse under your consistency. You don't fight stupidity. You let it self-destruct trying to understand you. That's why the system fears you. You don't rebel against it. You render it irrelevant. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to bend reality around your insight. You were never meant to be liked. You were meant to be remembered. And that's exactly what's happening. Even your silence is archived. Even your pauses are studied. You've become a syllabus for survival, the unwritten law they now cite as scripture. So let them keep pretending they're decoding you. Let them host panels and podcasts about understanding complex minds. Let them analyze your behavior, quote your contradictions, and pretend they've caught up. Because every time they try to define you, you evolve again. Every time they think they've mapped your chaos, you redraw the cosmos. Every time they think they've cornered your logic, you change dimensions. You are not in competition with them anymore. You are in orbit, and they're still on the ground, pointing telescopes at your trail, whispering your name like a myth they can't prove, but can't forget. That's the price of brilliance, isolation in plain sight. You don't walk among them, you haunt them. You exist between thought and thunder, between genius and godhood. And when they ask one day how you did it, how you saw the patterns, how you knew the outcome before it began, you'll just smile that quiet, unbothered smile and whisper, I didn't outsmart them. I simply remembered what they forgot.